Good morning, Kingdom Champions. Good to have you here today. This is day 4, and we thank God for what He's been teaching us the last couple of days on overcoming obstacles. If you're joining us today, I encourage you to go back and look at the different messages that we have for this week as we look at different areas of obstacles that we need to overcome. I'm excited about today also. Every day is exciting for me. So let's look at obstacle number 4 that Joseph had to overcome. We're camping in the book of Genesis from chapter 37 all the way to chapter 50, and we're just drawing lessons, nuggets that can help in our day-to-day life that are relevant. So let's look at obstacle number 4, which is, let me call it famine or wilderness. All right, that's an obstacle that Joseph had to go through. So in the book of Genesis, chapter 41, Joseph is released from prison. Pharaoh calls for him, and he interprets Pharaoh's dream. And the dream that Pharaoh had was there were, 7 big cows that came out of the Nile. This is a dream that Pharaoh had. And behind them were 7 very lean and skinny cows that came behind the 7, big cows. And the lean cows swallowed the big cows. And he had another dream about ears of corn, and the skinny ones, the ones that were scorched, swallowed the ones that were looking healthy. And Joseph is introduced to that scene because no one could interpret these dreams for Pharaoh. So the faithfulness that we talked about yesterday of Joseph, of adding value to people, is the same faithfulness that has brought him where he is at right now in front of the king. The Bible says that, seest thou a man diligent in his works? He will not serve obscure men, he will serve kings. Diligence brings you before kings. And so Joseph, in his faithfulness of interpreting cupbearer and chief baker, he was interpreting dream, is thrusted into the limelight before Pharaoh to interpret a dream. And at this level, now this is at national level. This is at a very broad level, because Pharaoh was in charge and responsible for Egypt. So Joseph is being called to give solutions at a national level. He has moved from giving solutions at an individual level. My God is so amazing that someone can move from giving solutions to individuals to giving solutions to the nation through faithfulness. All right? And so Joseph appears before Pharaoh and interprets and does what he needs to do. Genesis chapter 41, let me read a verse there. Verse 28, it is just as I said to Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he's about to do. 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the land of Egypt, but 7 years of famine will follow them. Then all the abundance in Egypt will be forgotten, and the famine will ravage the land. The abundance in the land will not be remembered, because the famine that follows it will be so severe. The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in 2 forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by God, and God will do it soon. And now let Pharaoh look for a discerning and wise man and put him in charge of the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh appoint commissioners over the land to take 1/5 of the harvest of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance. They should collect all the food of these good years that are coming and store up the grain under the authority of Pharaoh to be kept in the cities for food. This food should be held in reserve for the country, to be used during the 7 years of famine that will come upon Egypt, so that the country may not be ruined by the famine. Look at the language of Joseph. It has changed. Now he's talking about country. He's talking about, this is what you do for the country. These are the solutions you have for the country. This is how you move from abundance to making sure that during famine there's something. And the 4th obstacle I want us to look at today is that, how do we prepare for famine? All right? How do you prepare for famine? What is the solution to famine? We will go through our wilderness experiences. We will go through stuff that we are wondering, how did we get here? Moses, remember, had to move from the palace to the wilderness for 40 years. And there are things that God took him through during that time. So how do we prepare for famine? And we will learn from Joseph here in terms of giving solutions, even at a national level, on how to prepare. So Joseph was given the responsibility of making sure that food in Egypt did not run dry. That's the responsibility he was given. He not only had the responsibility of collection, because when he was given the responsibility as second in command by Pharaoh, the immediate thing he did is he went around Egypt studying and surveying. All right? He wasn't just sitting in an ivory tower or behind his chariots making decisions from where he was. He had to go out, all right, and to survey the land and to see what farmers are doing and to see what's growing where and to see what is best in certain places. Joseph went around and did that. He traveled around Egypt, and Joseph his work had to touch on different areas, from legislation to communication, to negotiation, to handling transport logistics, to learning about food storage. Remember, they didn't have refrigeration like we have right now. To building, to forecasting, to record keeping, to human resource. Now he was managing and had to learn a diverse skill set. All right? The success of Joseph lay in the effective integration of his divine gifts and his acquired competencies. There was no separation for Joseph. I pray that as we deal with the obstacle of famine and as we deal with solutions and problems that God will call some of us to, that we can be able to integrate our divine abilities and our competencies. That the competencies of management, the competencies of leadership, the competencies of forecasting, of budgeting, of record keeping, of storage, of all these things can be merged with our God-given abilities. And for Joseph, it was wisdom. The amount and the level of wisdom Joseph was operating in was unimaginable. There's a Hebrew word for wisdom here. Wisdom, wise and wisdom, hakam and hokmah. They denote a high level of mental perceptivity. They are also used for a wide range of practical skills. All right? So what strategies did Joseph employ? Remember, we're dealing with how do you prepare for a famine? All right? How do you prepare for example, like right now, we went through COVID. It might not be the last pandemic we are facing. There'll probably be, at a personal level, we will experience certain times of famine. Either our finances are becoming depleted, or there's a famine in the country. Something happening in the country. Remember, we had locusts coming in. It could be personal, it could be a family, it could be a church, it could be a nation, it could be a city. So how do we prepare? We become familiar with the state of affairs. So we have to scout. Remember, Joseph scouted, went round, all right? If God has promoted you to a level of influence, the first responsibility you have is to assess the situation, okay? The second responsibility you have is to pray for discernment. This is how you prepare. We overcome famine, we overcome wilderness by preparation. You prepare, okay? That is the way out. Preparation and planning. I know sometimes these are not synonymous to our faith walk, all right? But we have to prepare. The Bible talks about who is he? Anyone who wants to build a house must first of all count the cost. So you have to sit down, count the cost before you build the house. Nehemiah says that I heard about the walls of Jerusalem. They were in ruins. All right? And my heart was broken. And he went into a period of mourning and prayer and fasting. But when he was given the report, the first thing that Nehemiah did, one of the first things was he went to inspect the walls, to see for himself, this is what has happened to the walls of Jerusalem. If God has given you a burden in a certain area, God is calling you to a certain area, an assessment of that area is so critical, as we are seeing with Joseph, as far as preparation is concerned, because we have to prepare. All right? So become familiar with this, with the state of affairs. Pray for discernment. Be grateful and acknowledge the gifts God has given you. Educate yourself about the work that you're doing. All right? Remember this, that although your exemplary service may propel you to prominence like it did for Joseph, remember your mission as God's servant. Okay? Generously extend the fruit of your labor as widely as possible to those who truly need it, regardless of what you think of them. Okay? This is how we prepare, ladies and gentlemen. Whether it's a position you have at work, whether there's a certain assignment given to you, whether it's a kingdom assignment God has given to you, moments and seasons of things not working out happen. Reserves run dry, all right? Company money runs out sometimes, okay? Finances at home run out, all right? So many things can happen in any scenario, but we have the privilege of knowing that there's a level of preparation that's needed for us to be able to get through some of this season. I pray that as God leads us, that as God calls us to different areas of influence, those of you in the political space, those of you in different industries, whether in education, whether in entertainment, whether in, in the church space, whether in governance, let me tell you, there's something I love that our senior pastor has been doing this year. It's talking about preparation. If you can go for training, go for training. If you can learn from someone, learn from someone. Watch the YouTube videos, read articles, read books, learn. You want to get married? Prepare. You want to know how people get to 20 years of marriage and they've not divorced? Prepare. Go through, study books, read and find out what is the secret behind people making it through different seasons of life. Preparation. Preparation is the key and the antidote to this obstacle that Joseph went through, because for 7 years he had abundance. For 7 years there was abundance. They stored grain, they stored food, and the Bible says that Joseph even stopped keeping a record because there was an abundance. But he made sure that the things were being stored. He was preparing for a season when it won't be like that. What season are we in? Are we in a season of abundance? Are we in a season of joy? Are we in a season of learning? Are we in a season? What season are you in right now? In the season you're in right now, remember that you can keep some on the side, because he said a fifth of the portion collected must be stored. So 20% of anything coming in was stored, all right? So the mindset about even savings, financial savings, financial prudence, all right? Relationship building, okay? How are we preparing ourselves for where we are going? If someone is traveling to, for example, to a very cold area, how you pack your bag tells me the kind of place you're headed to, all right? If I come and check your suitcase and I see you have t-shirts and sandals, immediately I'll know you're going to a place that is hot. All right? If I come to your suitcase and I find gloves and boots and trench coats, I'll know where you're going to is a place that is very cold. I pray that as God enables us and as we are preparing, that in our toolbox and in our suitcases we can pack and prepare our mindsets. The Bible talks about don't be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be ye renewed, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. The renewal word there talks about renovation. Let your mind be renovated, all right? I don't know if you've seen a renovated room. It's the same room, but they pulled out things, pulled the carpet, renovated it, and it looks brilliant. It looks good. I pray that these seasons of preparation, we can be able to prepare. We can be able to prepare. Build the skills we need to build. Build the relationships we need to build. All right? Go and study whatever we need to study. Learn the skills we need to learn. Joseph had to learn stuff that he didn't learn at his father's house because he knew part of his assignment had to do with famine at a national level that he was to be an answer for. I don't know what God has called you to, but I pray that there will be a sharpening for you as you prepare for where God is taking you. God bless you, even as you take some time this day to think about how do you best prepare for your assignment? How do you best prepare for where God is taking you? How do you best prepare for the calling and the burdens? Some of you will be called into the humanitarian area. How do you prepare for that? Some of you will be called into spaces that have to do with national reconciliation. How do you prepare for that right now? You know, how do you prepare for areas where children have to be taken care of, gender-based violence? How do you prepare for that? I pray that God will give us the wisdom to know how to prepare. And so, Kingdom Champion, let's prepare for what God has called us to do. God bless you, and thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to wrapping this up tomorrow as we close this conversation about overcoming obstacles. God bless you, and see you then.